You noticed? Lots of chatting going on.
I noticed you were very aggressive with the bell out there.
Oh, not me.
Someone, what, was you? You were rounding them up. They were just sitting and talking. I love it. You got to get their attention.
Thank you, Casey. So welcome here, welcome online. I'm Kitty Benson, the minister here at Unity, and we have Highest Good to sing us through the beginning of our service. We're so grateful to have your beautiful sounds and hearts here. And if you're watching online, we're grateful that you found us. And I know that sometimes you watch the recording of this, but what we know is that your energy, no matter when you watch, is contributing to this experience. So we'll just open our hearts here in the room to all the hearts around the world that watch. So grateful to have everyone here together. And there's so much to talk about, but I'll do it in its proper order today, or else I'll get carried away. What are we singing first and foremost? Rise, of course. Oh my gosh. What's the date today? It is one of my favorite songs. What's the date today?
24th.
24th. Okay, we're not quite there, but our first Sunday was Palm Sunday, which is today, Palm Sunday. So in 2007, on Palm Sunday, we had our first Sunday service together, and this was the first song that we sang on Palm Sunday, was To Rise. So if you'd like to rise and sing with us, if you like to stay seated when you sing, have at it.
Good morning, everyone. Yeah. Let's sing.
Slow down, be still. Let go, we will. Be here, be now. Slow down, be still. Breathe in, refill. Be here, be now. If you choose to love and to know that the call is to give all you are, give love away, away. Oh, rise, rise, people of love, rise, people of love, rise, give yourself away. Come on, rise, rise, people of love, rise, people of love, rise, give yourself away, give yourself away. Slow down, just breathe. Be still, believe. Be here, be now. Slow down and see. It's all you need. Be loved and free. If you choose to love and to know that the call is to give all you are, give love away, away. Rise, rise, people of love, rise, people of love, rise, give yourself away. Come on, rise, rise, people of love, rise, people of love, rise, give yourself away, give yourself away, rise, rise, people of love, rise, people of love, rise, give yourself away. Come on, rise, rise, people of love, rise, people of love, rise, and give yourself away, give yourself away.
seems appropriate after a song called Rise to do a song called Way Up. Don't you think? That's where our hearts and our thoughts are. Let's sing together. Way up, higher, way up, here I go. Way up, before I know it, I am rising to new horizons. Way up, higher, way up, here I go. Way up, before I know it, I am rising to new horizons. Way up, yes, I am graduating to another level. I am ready to rise, 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 rise. I cut the rope, fear is falling from me, yes, and I am beginning to fly, 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 fly. Way up, higher, way up, here I go. Way up, before I know it, I am rising to new horizons. Way up, sing that verse. I am graduating, yes, to another level. I am ready to rise, 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 rise. I cut the rope, fear is falling from me. I am beginning to fly, 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 fly. Way up, higher, way up, here I go. Way up, before I know it, I am rising to new horizons. Way up, higher, way up, here I go. Way up, before I know it, here we go. I am rising to new horizons. Way up.
So I know that our spirits are already climbing out of our bodies, but let's just see if we can bring it back into our heart space. Focus there for a moment in prayer. Grateful to feel this presence that is alive with life, that is stretching out beyond the boundaries of the body in this moment as light, as love, as wisdom, as life itself. Awake and aware to this presence, we allow it to feel itself fully and freely, not only inside the body, but we imagine it reaching out to the hearts all around the world right now, connecting one with the one. This is the truth of who we are as we let it be. And so it is. Amen. Will you help us speak our invocation? The words are up here on the screen. Ready? Together? There's only one presence and one power in the universe and in my life, the all-loving goodness of God. Yes, thank you. You may be seated.
One with the one. I like that, Kitty. And we do. We allow ourselves to feel that fully and freely. In this moment, in this place, I remember who I am, letting fear and worry fall away from me. I open my eyes and see there is only love. There is only love. Love
There is only love. When I lose myself, when it seems I've lost my way, when I go inside and quiet my mind, I can hear Spirit gently say, there is only love. There is only love. Love that heals, love that sets us free. There is only love. There is only love. There is only love. Love that heals, love that sets us free. There is only love. There is only love. There is only love. There is only love.
Thank you. Give them some love. Feels good, feels good. I'm drinking from our new water filtration system. Straight from the faucet, you guys. You can trust the water in the kitchen now. So thank you for joining us. We're on a path, a journey to Easter coming up next Sunday. And today, being Palm Sunday, if you follow the traditional kind of fundamentalist, evangelical, mainstream Christian path on the calendar, Palm Sunday is the beginning of Holy Week. Does that ring a bell with anyone? Okay. And Holy Week is about the last week of Jesus' life. So what happens on Palm Sunday in the story of his life? Anybody? He rides on a donkey where? Into Jerusalem. But why Palm Sunday? Yeah, they had palms in their hands and they laid him on the path before his donkey's feet. Hosanna to the Son of God. Yes. So that week, he did a lot of what he normally does. He taught his followers, probably healed a few people. On Thursday, which we refer to as Maundy Thursday, is when he had the Last Supper with his disciples. And after that, he invited them to come with him to the Garden of Gethsemane and to pray. And they did go with him, but they fell asleep. He went off by himself to pray. And part of the story in one of the Gospels, it talks about him sweating great drops of blood as he was in anguish, as he thought of where his path would take him, and even prayed for that cup to pass him if it could, but ultimately said, "Let thy will be done, not mine." And right after that, the soldiers came and arrested him and took him away, and his disciples abandoned him. He was tried, and he was hung on a cross to die. That's on what day of this week? Good Friday. Doesn't make much sense, does it, to label it Good Friday? It's the part of the story that we kind of want to bypass, not really think about. We just kind of want to go straight to Easter, where all the joy is. But without the crucifixion, according to the traditional story, there could be no atonement. There could be no reconciliation. Those are a couple of words we don't use very often. Atonement. Reconciliation with who? So what we've been doing this past month in our journey to Easter is trying to break out the light and shine a light on a metaphysical point of view of various aspects of Jesus' life and the traditional Christian story. And I've been enjoying reading a book that I would recommend if you want to follow along for yourself, a comparison of the traditional interpretation of Jesus' life, especially around this time, and then compare it with New Thought ideas on these same topics. April Moncrief wrote the book, The Principles of New Thought, and here's what she said about this idea of atonement and reconciliation. First, she's telling the traditional aspect or view of the story. Jesus, it's believed, brought about the reconciliation between a remote external God, long displeased by the disobedience of his first children. Who were they? Adam and Eve, and the unregenerate flock of humankind, by taking upon himself the entire weight of human sin through his sacrificial death on the cross. Because the story says that all human beings carry this original sin, the only way to pay the debt that we owed God for that sin is to have a sacrifice. In their tradition, in the Jewish tradition at the time, they would bring a newborn lamb of some kind to sacrifice regularly. This was a human sacrifice, Jesus, which they saw as the only Son of God. The perfection of Jesus was the only thing that could pay the debt and allow atonement or reconciliation with God. How many of you are hearing that story for the first time? Anybody? Okay, so you're all kind of up to speed on that. So then you probably also know that Unity doesn't take the fundamentalist view of this story, but we look at it metaphysically. And that instead of being described as a traditional Christian path, Unity is a practical, progressive path of Christianity, where our focus is predominantly on the Christ of Christianity, which is the Spirit of God expressing uniquely in each one of us. That is the Christ Spirit, the term that we use for that presence within. So I'm just going to ask you to lay your hand on your heart for a moment and breathe in, allowing the possibility that God is expressing as me. Now that right there might be a resurrection moment for some of us. There's so much about that to explore and discover, and it's not necessarily easy for us. But we're going to stick with the story for today and talk a little bit about where Jesus falls into this. If Easter is more about the Christ than Jesus for us, what is it about Jesus that we even follow? Why is he part of our Easter story? We think of Jesus not as the great exception, but the great example. That the Christ was present in Jesus, and he awoke to that knowing. And then he practiced living that Christ presence. And that's one of the reasons why we refer to Unity as practical Christianity, is to practice living from the Christ presence that's at the center of our being. To kind of awaken and remember the truth of our divine nature, which we rarely do. How many times this past week were you aware of your divine nature? Thank you, Ray. Thank you, Sharon. Okay, so good. Keep it up. Share it with your friends. Oh no, we're not evangelical. Sorry. Okay. Okay, so let's go back to the literal story here for a moment. Since we're talking about crucifixion today, it involves the cross. And there's a story in the book of Matthew, chapter 27. I just have to say, I started watching The Chosen for the first time. Has anybody seen that series? Okay, well, so far I've only discovered one season of it. So if you can tell me where to find the rest, I'd like to know. But in the story that they're putting in the movie, Matthew Not only is he a tax collector, and none of the Jews appreciate him, but they are portraying him as being a little slightly one direction or another on the autistic spectrum. And it just opened up a whole new point of view for me about who Jesus, invited to follow him, and all the different things that different people had to overcome as he was demonstrating to them what it was like to live a Christ-centered life. So they just called him on the last episode, so I'll keep you posted as to what happens to him and how he might change. But anyway, back to the story. Here we are on the cross in Matthew 27. Then Jesus cried again with a loud voice and breathed his last. At that moment, the veil of the temple was torn in two, from top to bottom. The earth shook and the rocks split. There was a veil in the temple that separated those who came into the temple from the Holy of Holies. It was set in darkness, and that is where the Ark of the Covenant resided. You know what the Ark of the Covenant was? It carried the commandments, and no one was allowed in there. Only the priests could go in once a year with an annual blood sacrifice. And this veil was meant to separate the people from it. So let's look at this veil metaphysically. That we have a veil that separates us. We refer to that veil as that subconscious level of thinking. It's part of the human experience, and everybody gets one. It's on purpose, and it's meant to keep us from knowing full-blown mind of God point of view. Because if we came into the body and retained that full knowing that we are God expressing, this game would be over. And I know that sometimes this life doesn't feel like a game. It feels very tragic. It feels very upsetting. But maybe we could look at this as a path of evolution. That we're on a path of evolution. And if we were to come into the body and know without a veil, I am God, then there would be no challenges. There would be nothing that would cause us to evolve and grow and continue the creative process, which in unity we see as really the main reason for this physical dimension, for these physical bodies. So the veil was important. But when it's torn because Jesus gave up life from the body, what if we looked at that as it's the opening of our consciousness to the other side, to the Christ consciousness within us, that now we do have access to that divine mind. It may not be full-blown, but it's available to us through intuition and feelings, through those moments of aha, through that just pure knowing of what is good and what is true, that presence of divine life where life cannot be denied. These are all waiting for us on the other side of the veil. So what had to happen in us in order for us to access that? We have to put something to death. We have to cross something out. We want to tear open this belief system that we're separate from God. That's the number one idea that the human consciousness holds on to. Maybe not I'm separate from God, but that I'm separate from everything. And that means I'm separate from God. So let's take a look up here on the screen of how Charles Fillmore describes the metaphysical interpretation of crucifixion. He says it's the crossing out in consciousness of errors that have become fixed states of mind, the surrender of the personality, so the Christ mind may be expressed in all its fullness. So now we're talking about the reconciliation. We deny the human self so that we may unite with the selfless. We give up the mortal so that we may express the immortal. We dissolve the thought of the physical body so that we may realize the spiritual body. Now, that sounds a little like desperate measures. You know, most of us don't want to deny the human, give up the mortal, and dissolve the thought of the physical body. Sounds a little scary. But what if we're not literally saying, let's kill ourselves, let's end our physical life? And what if instead we were recognizing its limitations and no longer allowing the human part of ourself to dominate our life. Jesus said it this way from Luke 17. If you grasp and cling to life on your terms, think human terms, think ego terms, you'll lose it. You'll lose life. Well, you're not going to die, right? You're just going to lose out on the fulfillment of divine life. So if you grasp and cling to the life on your terms, you'll lose it. But if you let that life go, you'll get life on God's terms. Not physically end the body, but become awake and aware of who we really are and to allow that Christ presence within us to dominate in our lives. That's what atonement becomes for us in unity, at-one-ment, a conscious oneness with God, that I'm never separate from that divine consciousness of the Christ. And that, at that point, we're reestablishing our conscious awareness. That's what reconciliation is about. We're remembering who we really are. And before Spirit can work, we have to make way for it to get through into our awareness, to break out the light, to deny that belief in separation. And we're going to need to go back to that idea of metaphysical crucifixion for a few more minutes to just understand how it's standing in the way of all that God has for us. So, my first career path, I majored in broadcasting in college. Didn't finish college at that time. Got married at the age of 20. Moved to Oregon. And the first job that I had was working for a radio station. They'd seen what I'd been majoring in, and they put me to work. And I'm not saying this loudly enough for the teenagers to hear, but I technically earned my degree in broadcasting in the next 15 years in radio and television. So keep pursuing that degree, kids. But in my case, I got really versed in broadcasting. And my first job as a copywriter was to write commercials. And, this is Medford, Oregon, I don't know, 1,400 people, I can't remember. It was a very small town. And my job was to write a 30-second or a 60-second commercial that would convince the public to buy the product of my client at the time. And then we would bombard them with the message as often as our client's money would hold out. We'd pick certain times of the day to run them. Drive times were best because people were in their car listening to their radios. That's still true today if you do listen to a radio. And in this script that I wrote, which either I voiced or someone else voiced, it was about inviting people to compare their product to everyone else's and why their product was better. We also kind of I inserted some subtle text that said, and if you don't have this product, you're not as good as those who do. So now we're worried that we won't fit in unless we get this product. So I have grown up since then, but that was my focus at the time. And actually at that point, I started to realize, wow, we do this all the time. We compare products all the time. And even more so, we compare ourselves all the time with others. I don't know if you know when it started for you. For me, it felt like 3rd or 4th grade when I first started to become aware of the skills that I had that were better than others and the skills that I didn't have that made me worse than others. Can anyone relate to that? Yeah. So the first thing all you had to do is look at your report card. That was a big thing. Grades. How's your grades compared to? I had siblings above me and a whole bunch of other people in my class that were always very competitive about that. And besides the grades, it was also about how do you look? What kind of clothes are you wearing? Who are your popular friends or not? How good am I at sports? And as we compared these products in our body and we didn't measure up, one of the things we might do is brag about how great we are to try and convince people that we really are better. And we'd focus on the things that we had, like, ooh, I just bought this great outfit at this great store. Or the things that we have or the friends that we have, we would brag about. On the other hand, there are those who were completely lost when it came to their self-esteem and would choose to become a bully instead. And for me, I was bullied, and what a bully looked like to me was for that person to point out all of my flaws to everyone else as loud as possible so that they would feel better about themselves. I think that's the goal of the bully, to feel better about themselves. So some of us probably did that. And for the most part, I would say even from childhood, we weren't the bully and we weren't the bragger. We were the ones who just noticed that we didn't measure up, and then we would beat up on ourselves silently. And I think we could probably all relate to that. It's my grades, it's in sports, it's, how I look, it's what friends I do or don't have, how popular I am not, shame on me, nobody loves me. And we just let that evolve and sophisticate into our adult life. So now it's not about clothes and boys so much, it's more about degrees and career paths and whether I'm married or not and how good my kids are doing in comparison to all the other kids. But it's still there. It's still this point of I'm not enough. All of that is part of the error consciousness that we have established to make us who we are. We let those beliefs continue to inform our choices and the words that we say or don't say. And we've got such a strong story going from childhood that we're basically sleepwalking, totally unaware of who we really are. There's this wonderful phrase from William Wordsworth who said, "Our birth is but a sleep and a forgetting." When we came into this human experience, we forgot, and we just sleepwalk through life, that we are truly the Christ expressing. So as we solidify that, our overview of life can become that I'm rarely experiencing success, but I seem to be experiencing pain way too often until we have this lifetime of self-image built up. And now we're comparing ourselves to our family, how well we're doing against them. We're comparing ourselves to our coworkers and how well we're doing against them. And it's the kind of thing that if we're not measuring up in any given moment, we grab a mask and we put it on and we pretend to be smarter than we are. We pretend to be an expert on everything. We pretend to be really clever but look really foolish as we do it. We pretend to be really generous but really feel stingy in our heart. And whatever we think the mask will be to solve the problem at the time, that's what we put on, still not revealing our true identity. My guess is many of you can relate to this. And our excuse for this is I'm all alone. That's our really solid belief. I'm alone in this. It's every man for himself, and I'm not a man. Or, now that I think about that, that's good. Yeah, everyone for themselves. But it's also, the main idea is I'm only human. What do you expect? I expect to not do well. I'm only human. How are you feeling right now? It might be time for a cross out of that error thinking. And that I'm only human is one of the main thoughts that we need to cross out right off the bat, because it's the one that says we've forgotten our identity. Eric Butterworth has written a wonderful book that was one of my first reads in Unity. And he does a beautiful job for someone like me who came up in church and knew the Bible very well and gave us a different point of view of what the Bible stories could mean and Jesus' role in my life. And he says, our humanity is but the degree to which we have given expression to our divinity. We are human in expression, but divine in creation and limitless in potentiality. So what he's basically saying is how we express as a human being is as good as the degree that we're allowing the Christ to express through us. And if you are holding judgment about yourself, you might just think, okay, how am I letting my humanity run my life? when I have access to something so much higher and so much better. So Jesus' death on the cross is a symbol for us of something that we must cross out, that we must end as the dominant force in our life, and that's ego. I'm not saying to get rid of it. We're just crossing out the ego's rule in our life. And it's just noticing when ego's trying to run things, and then remembering you have no power in my life. But we have to wake up. We have to break out the light in order for this to happen. So what I'd like to do is I'd like to invite you into some denials and affirmations that will help give you a feel for what it means to cross out error consciousness and break out the light. So up here on the screen, in this first case, imagine that one of the main problems of humanity is that we get our feelings hurt, that we feel like other people have power over us and that they can stand in the way of our good. It might be the government, it might be your boss, it might be your ex-spouse, but somebody out there seems to have control over your happiness, over your good. That the economy can decide whether you get a raise this year or not. It's something out there that we tend to give our power to. And what this requires is a crossing out of that belief and then affirming what is true about us. So the denial up here on the screen, guided by the Christ, oh, by the way, would you say it with me? Guided by the Christ within, I cross out the mistaken belief that there are two powers in the world, good and bad. And here's our affirmation. I break out the light and remember there's only one power working in my life, the all-loving goodness of God. Okay, so another dark thought that humans regularly hold is, I have to do it all on my own, but I'm not qualified, or I'm not good enough, or I don't know how. I have to do it all on my own and get my good, but there's not enough good to be had. Not everybody's going to get their good, and I'm usually one of those. I have to be in control of my life in order for me to find my good, but I rarely have that control because somebody else is stronger than me. Somebody else has more than me. That's a voice that has to be crossed out, so let's deny that together up here on the screen. Guided by the Christ within, I cross out the mistaken belief that I am separate and alone. And here's our affirmation together. I break out the light and remember God is everywhere present, providing for every need. Okay, how about the human idea that failure that I went through in my past, I can never overcome? I regret that mistake bitterly, but it has tainted my life and I will never be able to get past it. It has power over me. It will keep me from any good that's in the future. Or I've learned that if I want to take a risk and try something new, it's not safe, and when I make a mistake in public, that's bad. So mistakes should be avoided at all costs. What that is saying is you're leaving life to your humanity, and it's not enough to get past anything in your past. And it's also not enough to take you into something new in the future. So let's deny and cross out that idea up here on the screen. Guided by the Christ within, I cross out the mistaken belief that the past or future has power over me. We affirm together. I break out the light and remember divine love is working for my good, and now is the time to trust it. Not in the past, not in the future. This is the now moment where there is power available to us. How about this one? I don't deserve to have something that good. I know my heart wants it, but I'm really not worthy of it. Or my opinions don't really matter. Nobody wants to hear what I want or what I think is right. And by the way, when I do say what I want, or I do start doing the things that I want, then people don't like me. So it's just easier to go with the flow and do what everybody else does and just fit in. Sound familiar? Okay. So let's deny that. Let's cross out that belief together. Guided by the Christ within, I cross out this mistaken belief that I must fit in and be like everyone else. We affirm together. I break out the light and remember, with every desire of my heart comes the divine potential to fulfill it. Do you hear the difference? Do you hear how loud the ego can be in our life? Simply because it's grown, it's developed based on what's happening to us from the outside. That it is not the real you. This journey towards Easter, it's very easy to skip over the crucifixion. It's very easy to forget about what is standing in our way and think we can just hop right into resurrection. And then we try to experience resurrection and we can't figure out why the old keeps getting in our way. So, in the literal story, without the crucifixion, there can be no reconciliation. We don't have to look at the story literally, but metaphysically, we can look at how we have to cross out the error beliefs that are standing between us and the truth. That part of our work here is to surrender our ego so that the Christ mind in us can be expressed. Surrender the ego. And probably the hardest for us is to let go of the human identity. Yes, we have a body, but that's not what we are. Yes, we're living this human experience, but that is not who we are. In watching this movie, The Chosen, it's really a unique take on it. And the way that they depict Jesus at some points is you can see how he came to this realization that he was more than human. And it wasn't just for him. He said, follow me. He didn't say, watch me. He didn't say, stand back and let me show you how wonderful I am. He said, follow me. And the disciples were learning, they didn't know how to do what he was doing, but they did know that if they followed him, they would start to understand. That's what Jesus is for us, our way shower, to follow him, to hold on to that consciousness, I and the Father are one. That right now, the presence of God within us is seeking to address every challenge with wisdom and love. And we have the ability to cross out anything standing in the way of that. If we can wake up, break out the light, and let it do its work in us. In God, the scriptures say, we live and move and have our being. And right now, in this moment, the Christ, God expressing uniquely in us, is alive as you. The Christ is alive as me. Would you put your hand on your heart, please? And just say that with me. The Christ is alive as me. Together? The Christ is alive as me. And instantly, ego will have something to say about that we notice and we cross out. We deny its power over us, and we tell it the truth. The Christ is alive as me. How about if we take this into meditation and give ourselves a chance to know this deeply, which is one of the reasons that we do meditate. We cross out the distraction of the body right now by breathing life through it. So just take a moment to do that. And feel the relaxation of that life power flowing through our bodies. As you breathe deeply, we feel the presence of divine peace flowing through us. Knowing in this now moment, we are safe and secure. In this present moment, there is nothing pressing on us. There is only the presence of God. And perhaps your ego has something to say about that. And starting to make a list of all of the things that are pressing in on you, that feel heavy or worrisome. Perhaps it's telling you that your body is old. It's no longer as strong as it used to be. Or it's sick. You even have a diagnosis for it. Or you're overrun with exhaustion. And this feels like the dominant force of your life. Instead, we choose to notice that in this moment, to cross out that mistaken belief, to break out the light of God within, showing us what is true. In this now moment is the presence of divine life in me and as me. In this now moment, the everywhere present divine light fills my body to overflowing, pouring out through my pores, surrounding me and infilling me with the light of life. This light is filled with strength and renewal. It's revitalizing every cell in this body temple. This body is not who I am, but I am so grateful for the home it's providing. I am the light of God shining now. But what about, says the ego? What about this path that I'm walking? It's confusing. It's a struggle. It's limiting me. I don't know what to do. Those are the error thoughts that we notice and cross out. We break out the light, shining the truth that divine wisdom is fully present in us and through us. Our mind, one with God mind, where every solution is fully present. Divine ideas are flowing freely. Creative thoughts are coming clearly. Truth is setting us free. The mind of God holds my mind within it, and I know the truth. But Kitty, I can't seem to figure out how to get along with my neighbor, with my spouse, with my ex-spouse, with my children, with my coworker, with my boss, with the world, with the political party that's working against me. We notice those error thoughts that are not based in God. We dissolve that power that is no power. And we break out the light. The presence of God is everywhere. That presence is always and only pure love. That transforming, harmonizing power of love is seeing and knowing and being only good. That goodness is in me. It's in my friends and family. That loving goodness is in every human being, even the difficult ones, now, always. I let go of the fear. I let go of the belief in separation and see I and all beings are one. There's only one of us here, and it is love. It is loved. It is loving. I am divine love now. The Christ is alive as me. I let go of anything to the contrary and live into this truth. Living in God, moving in and as God, having my very existence as a unique expression of God. This truth feels like light. I'm drawn to the light. I give thanks for the light. I let the light be the power in me. And so it is. Amen. Let's go back to that bird for a minute, Christina. Can't you just smell those blossoms? Spring is on its way. More evidence of life and light. It's all around us. As much as we avoid the topic of crucifixion, if we're not aware of its need, we can never really know what's waiting for us in the light. So thank you for taking this journey with me. Next week, I'll let you get to the light part. Yes. So this is a time in our service we share our tithes and our love offerings. It's just another way to let light flow through us. We can give our financial gifts knowing that they are actually, at their very core, light, substance, energy of spirit, that it's everywhere present. If we could close our eyes and see with our mind's and heart's eye, we would see this sparkling divine substance everywhere present. So in this moment, you choose, if you so choose, to form it into something tangible that simply allows this message and the work that we do together to continue. So thank you for that. If you're watching online, you can give at our website, unityinnaperville.org. Or if you'd like to send checks to our P.O. Box 9733 in Naperville, and the zip is 60567. Let's infuse our gifts with the power of love and say these words together. Divine love, through me, blesses and multiplies all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. And I am grateful. Thank you. Ushers, will you come, please?
Within is a flame, though I sometimes do not see, but when I open my mind, truth reveals myself to me. Like the dawn, I am the Christ, sizzling as the sun. Break out the light, it's my natural state. Oh, how I radiate. Do not feel, but as I open my heart, in the glow of that love, I am here. Oh, break out the light, I'm risen like the dawn. I am the Christ, sizzling as the sun. Break out the light, it's my natural state. Oh, I radiate. Break out the light, I'm risen like the dawn. I am the Christ, sizzling as the sun. Break out the light, it's my natural state. Oh, I radiate. It's my natural state. Oh, I radiate. Woohoo!
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much. Woo! Do you know how many of us were radiating when we walked in this morning? Oh my gosh. I just felt so expansive, and I keep thinking, we created this together with Spirit, right? And it gets me a little choked up. I am Cindy Spees, and I'll be sharing announcements with you today. If you are joining us for the first time, we are thrilled to have you with us. If you have not done so already, there's a orange card at the welcome table. If you fill that out, we will keep you informed of all that's going on at Unity. And if you are a virtual newcomer, you can sign up for weekly e-news at unitynaperville.org. Billy Elliot is today at 1 p.m. Yes, and thank you again, Steve, for organizing that. We are so thrilled. If you are riding the bus, please meet in the front room because we are leaving at 12:15. You will receive your ticket on the bus. If you are driving, please arrive at the Paramount at least 15 minutes before showtime to allow yourself to pick up your ticket at will call. Monday morning, Metaphysics meets tomorrow at 10 a.m. They are reading The Power of Decision by Raymond Charles Barker. You can click the Amazon link at unitynaperville.org to find the book, and Amazon will make a donation to Unity. Grief Support meets next Monday at 7 p.m. You can join us for Draw a Mandela Friday, April 5th at 7 p.m. at Unity. Drawing a Mandela will calm you, bring you peace of mind. Do one whenever you feel tense or even when you're happy. There's a love offering of $20 if registered by April 3rd, $25 afterwards. Register at the info table or see the event calendar at unitynaperville.org. Our prayer chaplain today is Steve, but because of the play, check in with him right after service, and if you need to speak to a chaplain, give him your phone number, and you two can figure out when is a good time to connect. For details on all our events, see the event calendar at unitynaperville.org. I should say, if you are online, you can email for a prayer chaplain at prayer@unitynaperville.org, and the chaplain will contact you. For details on all our events, see the event calendar at unitynaperville.org. And now Reverend Kitty has a special announcement.
Thank you, Cindy.
Thank you. So just real quick, praise and glory and so much thanks for everybody who helped create what we've got out there so far. Yes. Thank you for the table setup, and wasn't it fun to find hooks to hang your coats on today? That was fun. Lots still to happen. We have cabinets coming this week on Thursday, so if you can help get them out of their boxes and shift them into place and glue them together with some kind of screws or something, I don't know, it's beyond me. There's a sign-up sheet out front for you to let us know, and we'll call you when we have the time for Thursday. And then also the membership class is this coming Saturday online. So if you want to become a member of Unity, if you want to vote in elections or run for the board, but there's so much more about being a member, please take the class. It's online on Saturday, and then you can come and do it in person if you prefer on April 7th, and there's a sign-up sheet for that. Next Sunday, Easter. It won't be completely finished out there, but we intend to have that be a special ceremony. And we're going to take a picture of the group that's here, and what we're going to do together is bless the cafe. And we're going to have a blessing specially for it, and we're going to put it in a frame, and we're going to put a photograph of us in a frame. And for those of you who can't be there, you can send a little picture of yourself, more details later, with your own affirmation about what's going to happen in that space. So please be here next week if you can. Oh, so much fun besides that waiting for us. And if you can help with the food, with the decor, whatever for next Sunday, Beth is in charge of that, and there's a sign-up sheet out there for that. So that's what's on the agenda. And if you will stand as you're able, we'll have one last song.
I love that bird. We'll sing this together. You ready? Together. May you be well, may you be happy, may you be peaceful, and may you be loved. May you be well, may you be happy, may you be peaceful, and may you... Go ahead, turn to your neighbor and speak this. May you be well, yeah. May you be happy, send a blessing. May you be peaceful and may you be loved. And to the camera online, may you be well. Yes, we're thinking of you. May you be happy. May you be peaceful and may you be loved. To all of my relations, I bow to you, and we are all related. A common thread runs right through, and we can sing this simple song for the ones in pain. Send it out into the world then. And when we sing for the suffering, may these words melt their pain away. Oh, world, may you be well, may you be happy, may you be peaceful, and may you be loved. May you be well, may you be happy, may you be peaceful, and declare for the world. May you be well, may you be happy, may you be peaceful, and may you be loved. Heart on your hand on your heart. May you be well, yes. May you be happy. May you be peaceful, and may you be loved.
Yes. And here's our closing affirmation for this week. May we know it all week. Together, I cross out the thoughts unlike God and break out the light of truth, which always leads to my good. And so it is. Please say hello to someone. I know a lot of you are dashing out the door. Say hi to somebody you haven't met yet. Looking forward to seeing you at the theater this week, next Sunday. Happy Easter, everyone.
And once again online, thanks for joining us. Lovely to have you each week. Oh, way up, higher, way up. Here I go, way up.
Hey, how are ya? What do you think of this?
I am rising and new horizons. Way up, higher, way up. Here I go. Before I know it, I am rising to new horizons. Way up. Yes, I am graduating to another level. I am ready to rise, 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 rise. I cut the road. Fear is falling from me. Rise, rise, rise. I cut the road. Fear is falling from me. I am beginning to fly, 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 fly. Way up, higher, way up. Here I go, way up. Before I know it, I am rising to new horizons. Way up. Great job, you guys. Thank you. And online, we'll see you next week.